Hello, friends. How's everyone doing tonight? I see Little Homestead by the Beach is already here and has said hello. Hi, Mary Lynn. What have you got going on lately? Are you participating in the January Pantry Challenge? Hi, Ram. Thanks for coming. It's a little nerve-wracking starting this and not knowing what to say to everybody. I know where you guys are coming from. Is there anybody else here that can pop in and give me a little message, a little comment? Remy is from New Brunswick, I think, and Mary Lynn is from Quebec, I think. Remy, are you participating in the January Pantry Challenge in any way? A story about something that happened this year. Let me start with my garden. We have just under 2 acres, and 1 acre has been sitting fallow for probably 10 years, and it was full of Bermuda grass and all kinds of weeds, milkweed and yarrow and just random things. And we planted. We actually had a neighbor come in and till it, and another neighbor told us that this property is as fertile as the Holland Marsh, which is down by Niagara Falls, where they grow all those peaches and grapes and apples and everything so beautifully. Well, we got the soil tilled, and we had this neighbor who told us it was so beautiful, brought in some manure. And I think the manure was too fresh. It was not for decomposed as well as it should have been. And that field had zero. It had goldenrod. What's the other one I'm thinking of? Zero ragweed. But you can now walk around the perimeter of the garden where it wasn't tilled, and there's no ragweed, but the entire, about half to 3/4 of an acre, is filled with ragweed and pigweed. His field across the street from us had no ragweed either, and spread the manure and planted himself some peas, oats, and barley for his cattle feed, and his field is now full of ragweed too. So it's the joys. You trust your neighbors. You know, you have to really do your research. Yes, Remy, I think that moderators will be a good thing. I might have to Marilyn, but poor Marilyn has a life. I don't want to consume her with everyone else's live streams. I might natter my significant other to come in and hang out with me on live streams. Have we had anything yet that's come up that's not moderated friendly? I know a moderator might help me to show my messages. Not just doing a video regularly enough and don't have enough for the whole year if I eat everything in January. I'm not approaching it as eating everything out of my pantries, my canned goods, so much as using up those things that are close to expiring. Yes, Marilyn is from Quebec, and Remy is eating stuff that's going to go bad, expiring. Oh, my newest video is not, just released about an hour ago. I made some tea biscuits, cheddar cheese tea biscuits, gluten-free, from a mix out of my pantry, and it was expired, but it only expired in October. So I figured, not so bad. Well, it was rancid. Dan bit into the biscuit and said it tasted nutty. I bit into the biscuit and I went, oh, don't eat that. If I had only sniffed the package before I before I bit into it, it would have let me know. Remy, you're an outdoorsy guy. Had you ever attended the New Brunswick Bushcraft gathering? And yes, say hello to everyone. And what's this? Spaghetti king squash? Wow, 6 or 7 meals. That's incredible. Now, I've had a spaghetti squash that was probably 5 pounds, and it was delicious. It took forever to cook. I can't imagine a squash being bigger than that. The kind of people that the fridge is almost empty except for the liquids and the one. Yes, the bushcraft gathering. You didn't know about it. It's been a couple of years, probably 2018, maybe 2017, 2018. There were some, who was there? Mike Barton and Wayne Culcraven, Wayne Russell, and he was in alone. Mark Young, who does Shunpike. He's got a YouTube channel for bushcrafting. He likes to do about stoves and coffee. I can't remember how many others. There were a lot of people there, and it was fantastic. The biggest problem we had was there were ticks everywhere. You go to the public washroom. It was in a park in south of Truro, a public park, a provincial park, south of Truro. I can't remember the name of the village, the town it was in. And you would lean against or even stand near the big brick washrooms, comfort station, and there were ticks crawling all over the walls. Like you wouldn't want to put your hand on the wall or lean against the wall and not think about it because you'd be covered. There was a tick every 6 inches along that wall. It was just awful. We had fun. I've got some older video footage about it in my channel. Yeah, ticks. We have them here too. I have a video about it, I think, in my older channel, the older part of my channel, and all the people that we hung out with while we were there. Have you ever had any illnesses from ticks, Rem? I've had probably in 2 years that we've been here, I've probably had 3 tick bites. Luckily, I haven't been sick from any of them. And Dan's had 1 or 2. The dog's had a couple, but we've got this great thing on her now. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a little teardrop shape that fits on her collar, and it emits a sound by battery that it eliminates the ticks. I also give her one of those spot treatments. You put the drops on her back and it goes through her body. Good thing, Marilyn. They're nasty. Infested by ticks a few times. The population is just crazy in some pockets. I don't think we're as bad as that place that we saw in the provincial park, but we do have them. Oh, let's hope that if you get a deep freezing, like the colder weather might help to reduce the populations. We're not getting that yet. We're -10 tonight, I think. And hey, how much snow did you get, Remy? I always find them on me when I go deer hunting. We have used a product that's designed for horses. It is called Ultra Shield, and you can get it you can get a spray of it. It's a whole liter is about $100, but there is a smaller bottle too. And you spray your clothing and you spray your gear. And it's got a residual effect. It sort of smells a bit of citronella, so you might not want to use it when you're going to be near bear country or something. But it even lasts through washing. So you might be able to put it on your clothes, let it dry, and then wash it once so it doesn't smell quite so strong. It's not safe around cats, though. It does have some ingredients in it like permethrin and stuff that the Sawyer stuff that you can get in the States that you can't get here. But it's meant for fly shield for horses. So we spray it on our boots and our pant legs, and we spray it on our hat and the cuffs so that we can, and the waistband, to basically keep the ticks from crawling across you. It's called Ultra Shield, and we get it at PV Mart. I think you can order online too. But again, it's not safe to be used near cats until it dries. So you'd want to do it in the garage or outside and keep your cats away from it until it dries. An inch is too much. I think you had about okay. We had 8 inches, and I posted an image on my my Facebook, and then the next day Darren posted that he's got like 15 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow. You have about an inch of snow. Oh, I should be highlighting these. I'm sorry. I still am learning how to do this. Hey, Dave. Minus 19 last night. I thought you were in a warm area. And we do need a good freeze to kill all kinds of bugs, mosquitoes and ticks, and it'll alter the mouse population. It'll alter the bird population, but sometimes we need it. Minus 19. Oy. My friend Leanna's in Saskatchewan, and she's been getting minus 47. That's like crazy. And did you see the warnings about Alberta's power grid? Of course, there's some conspiracy theory stuff that we won't talk about, but there's definitely a nasty chill. And I've seen the weather. You got some of that Alberta clipper coming through, did you? I've seen how cold weather can affect wiring, just individual house, never mind the whole area. Back in 2012, we had an ice storm that took out a lot of the province, especially the southern province. And those of us who had well-insulated houses were still decently warm, and some were using their gas fireplaces and stuff. This was in town. I had a brand new house that I just moved in October of 2012, and the ice storm hit like December 22nd or something. And it was pretty brutal. I'm sure we've all lived through some storms and some weather conditions that put out the systems. That's one of the things I actually want to start. I want to make a little video about is preparedness for, not everybody has a wood stove, and not everybody has the ability to, camping gear even. Like my sister is a senior citizen who lives in an apartment. She doesn't have camping gear. She doesn't have a wood stove. So I don't even know if she has a flashlight. She's probably watching right now and cursing me. Don't talk about me. Sharon, I love you. But a situation like that concerns me. How would she get a cup of coffee or warm up some soup if she doesn't have some kind of heating system? Actually, I just saw a little clip too, an image of, it was a little video, but some people have just clipped the image from it. You've seen I'm sure everyone has seen the terracotta planter pots with the candles underneath, and you build the terracotta pots up to work as a heater. This idea was taking the tea light candles, those little 1.5 or 2 inch candles, and putting 4 of them in a muffin pan, and then lighting those and being able to cook over top of that muffin pan. If you've got nothing else, then that'll, at least warm your water for you. I don't know if it'd actually bring it to a boil. Those little tea light candles will burn for, quite a while. So you should be able to get some good water over it. Remy says 8 people watching and 3 commenting. Who knows who's lurking in Yes, some of my siblings are watching and supporting me by watching, but they don't have YouTube accounts, so they can't comment while they're watching. I just need to convince them to get a YouTube account just so they, you know, you don't have to make movies or make videos to have a YouTube account. What happens if I make a comment here? Does it show up? Good evening, Karen siblings. That might be Sharon, Pam, Jody, John. I might have my friend Maggie might be watching. My friend Leanna, maybe she may not be here tonight because she has an account. She would log in and message me if she was hearing me talk about her and her weather. All right. Well, I was going to talk about the pantry challenge and see how it works for all of you. Just need a Gmail account, any email. Oh, I thought you had to have a Gmail account to get into YouTube, but it's okay. Any email should work too. You have to be able to log in and create an account and then search till your heart's content. I was going to talk about how the pantry challenge is working for anybody, or I had to make notes. Do you guys make notes when you're making a live stream? Okay, so if you're not participating in the January, if you're did not need to, Remy says he has an account, a fake account with his work email, and Marilyn says, did not know, Remy. I want to say, did not need to know, Remy. If you're not doing the January Pantry Challenge, are you participating in the No Spend January, which is an offshoot of the January Pantry Challenge? What are you all drinking tonight? If you're going to sit down in front of the computer, you might have a beverage beside you. Why would, okay, you take notes. Remy, do you use that account to give thumbs up and watch time to your own channel? Shh. Rem has a beer. And Marilyn says she already spent plenty in January. Cranberry juice. No, you don't have that beer ready yet, eh? I heard you talking about 200 gallons of beer or something. Yes, it's good to support friends' channels. I have one of those celestial seasonings teas, and this one is cookies and cream. It's a holiday one. If you ever have a chance to try it, it tastes like sugar cookies. It really tastes like sugar cookies. And since I have to be gluten-free, having something that tastes like sugar cookies is kind of nice. 700 liters of beer. Remy, how long is the drive from your house to her house? How many kids will fit in the car with you? Oh, okay. You said you could. You have the capacity to make 700 liters of beer. You did not say you're going to. All the same. Yeah, hops has got medicinal purposes too, though. You can tincture it, which is the same. You're gonna, is it vodka or is it beer? But you can tincture it and get the medicinal benefits out of it. 25 liters at a time. We've never tried brewing anything. I've tried fermenting apple cider vinegar, and I've tried fermenting kombucha, and both were successful. I don't use very much apple cider vinegar, so I didn't keep it. And 46 liters. I ended up throwing it down the drain. I gave some to the chickens, and the rest of it I just put in the drain. It probably isn't great for the septic system. You're fermenting wine. How much time, Remy? Around a 5-hour drive? Plus 2.5 by boat. Wow. I have no idea where Marilyn is. We'll have to have a chat privately later so I can Google map this. Do we have any answer yet if someone is definitely picking up the Eastern Conference, Homesteading Conference? Or are we all going to have to make our way all the way across the province to the Western Ontario Conference? Quebec North Shore. I'll have to Google because I don't know Quebec very well. I don't know any provinces except Ontario very well, maybe a bit of BC. My mother-in-law is in Montreal, and right on the lakeshore, or right, I think it's the lakeshore. And we're all coming east, are we? Yeah, someone said there was, yeah, I remember hearing something about that. We have to find out where. Was it Darren's? Like by Labrador. North Shore. My sister is near the Quebec Ontario border. Sister-in-law. Not that far, Dave. Well, I'm going to have to Google that. I won't do it right now because I'm kind of trying to keep everybody entertained while I'm feeling rather nervous. But okay. Okay. I'm lost now that I don't have the topic I wanted to talk about. What have you got? Remy, are you doing the garage challenge? What do they call it? The garage challenge? The big harvest thing? What are they calling it now? Do you track how much you produce when you're with your gardens? Shed Wars. I don't know where garage came from, but Shed Wars. Is that for like the garden shed? Marilyn, did you participate? Taking a year off, Remy says. Hello, over 50 and fantabulous. Thanks for dropping by. Can you drop in the comments and let us know where you're joining us from? Just your state or province or something vague. Yeah, I did it last year. Not going to do it this year. So there might be some openings this coming year, huh? High 30 and fantabulous. Over 50. Okay. Did you either one of you do well in this the Shed Wars? It's not in my lingo yet. It's going to take me a minute to get that processed. I planted a really big garden this year. And all that one that was full of ragweed. Remy did great. I don't track how much I produce. Taking time off to see if the kids will enjoy eating straight from the garden. Are you having trouble with them eating from the garden? 2,500 pounds. I might have harvested. Yeah. Marilyn says, I did good, but I grow for 2. The same. I'm not growing for a family of 8 or 5 or 6 or whatever. There's just 2 of us. My adult kids will take a benefit from my pantry if I offer them some jarred food, but it's taking a bit to convince them that it's easy to open a jar as it is to order Uber. They live they live in Peterborough. So they live in a city where Uber Eats is a thing and they can get dinner really quick and easy if their budget allows for it. What do we got here? I got probably 50 or 60 pounds of potatoes, and this is the first year we've had a successful, it's only the second year we've grown potatoes, but we had a really good crop. Well, if I weigh everything, I have to bring it inside. I want kids to eat fruits without worrying if they're outside playing. So you want the kids to be able to go grab something out of the garden. If they want to grab a carrot and munch on it, you're good with that. Hi, Jody. I do see you in the chat. Thank you for joining. You made the effort. This is my brother, guys. Yay. Jody, are you participating in the January Pantry Challenge? Are you eating up those leftovers or those products that need to be used out of your pantry? You know, I would have been nattering about it in my videos for the past couple of weeks. And Jody, where are you visiting us from today? He's in BC, guys. If he's at home, he's in BC. So I was saying we got probably eating only from the pantry all month long. That's good. Now, Jody, do you grow a garden? I don't know. You're my brother, and I don't even know. Jody's an overgrown hippie. He still has hair down to his shoulders. The last I saw him, he is in a little tiny village of less than 1,000 people, and goes to the farmers markets and all of that, and tells me great stories about his adventures. So I was no garden. It's a lot of work, and even if you grow a windowsill with some herbs or something, it's whatever. So I was talking about Shed Wars, and I did not participate, and it's probably a good thing that I didn't, because I wouldn't have got 2,500 pounds of food by a far cry, because there's just two of us. But my gardening season was kind of sidelined. We grew 50 pounds of potatoes, and we probably got 3 dozen cobs of corn out of, like there was probably 100 plants, and we only got 36 cobs of corn. We had, you're growing for a family of 7. Tomatoes, I probably got 300 pounds of tomatoes. There's only 2 of us, so that's a lot of tomatoes to process. I made a lot of salsa this year. Remy, do you do any preserving, or does your wife do any preserving of those things you're growing? Oh yes, Remy's a big hunter. Got a moose, a deer, 40 chickens, 5 turkey, and a bunch of fish. I guess if you're providing for a family of 7, that'll go a long way. That means more than one freezer. It goes up quick. I did a lot of salsa, and I did some flavored stewed tomatoes this year. Last year I did just plain. I did some flavored sauces this year, but most of my stuff went into salsas and soups. I did a roasted red pepper and tomato, and I did a tomato vegetable. I know the nightshade family is not always the greatest for some of us. It's known for inflammation, but if I can grow them organically in my garden, I don't mind so much. Remy says, I preserve myself, water bath, and pressure canned, freeze, and dehydrate. Does your wife participate at all, or is this your, because I've never seen your girlfriend, your fiance. I've never seen her in your videos. I've never heard you talk about the preserving that happens or anything like that. So is this a one-man show as far as the gardening and all of that, or is that a family? She's camera shy. But is she helping in the kitchen? Although expensive, a freeze dryer is a great tool for people who who want to preserve food. Yes, Jody, a freeze dryer it's expensive, like $3,600 or more. And you've got to have the space for it. They are heavy, apparently. It's like a fridge, right? But you want to put it on a countertop or a table. There you go. She's feeding the family on the daily regular, and you're the one who's doing the preserving. Oh, looks like you're having a trouble with your echo there. I want to grow green beans. I can grow a bush bean. I have a way. You have always had a garden, going to Costco to stock up on things we don't grow. We do that too. Costco supplies us with our toilet paper and our coconut water because I need to have some beverage that's not carbonated. Mangoes. I can't grow mangoes here, so I buy frozen mangoes, and we buy dehydrated mangoes. We also buy blueberries, but blueberries are something we can grow. We just have to get the plants in the ground and get started. Remy says she does fruit and jelly and helps clean up sometimes. The apostrophe for she's or she'll. Gotcha. I've started to grow my nails again, and my thumb doesn't work because the nails are getting in the way. So if you get messages from me recently, they are a mess. It's time to cut them. They're getting in the way. I don't see CR in here tonight. He said he would join us, creative redundancy, but maybe he's forgotten. And that's perfectly all right, because people have a life and they have other things to do. I'm not the center of the universe, although damn it, I should be. What else? I'm doing a lot of leftovers on the January Pantry Challenge, and I'm trying to get away from that. But consuming stuff out of your pantry also means not throwing away the waste, not having the waste of the leftovers. So I used up the last 2 carrots and the last 2 celery and the last 5 or 6 potatoes and made a beef stew. But there was enough beef stew for 2 whole days. So how do you make a video with that? I've had to kind of work my way around it, but I added a few extra things to the day, just to, to the day's video, just to fill up some time. You have too much wild blueberry and wild apples to worry about planting those. Well, if I went north of 7, if I went up where Mike and Angie or Plowman's Backyard or Danby View Ranch, there would be blueberries up there. Where I am is just that 20 minutes further south where there aren't any. My neighbors, on the edge of my property, there's a lane and there's some pine trees there. So I know if I wanted to do blueberries, I could get out there and I could rake up some of the pine duff to acidify the soil. But our property is probably not suitable for it. I actually don't think my pH was pretty balanced. I'll have to test it again and test the area that I actually want to put the blueberries in. We're on the Canadian Shield, but we're not far enough back to get into the tree line shifts at that line. We are all the center of the universe. Yes. Sorry, I'm reading off these comments without posting them for everyone else to read. It's a habit I need to develop. And yes, we are all the center of our own universe. We can mostly tomato-based sauce. I like pasta, but not enough to eat that for the whole month, right? I can do salsa one night and I can do tomatoes one night, but I can't do the whole month of it either. I'm pulling things out of the freezer and using grocery store stuff, and the biggest thing for me is using up the product that is rotating. It's got to be rotated. It's got to be used up. Last year, I had a can of sardines in my cupboard, and I don't think I used them in the challenge, but I did give them to the dog or give them to the stray cats or something. And there's another, I might have given them the chickens, shared them with the chickens. there's another can up in the pantry, and I don't know how it got there, but it's there. And 1 can of sardines is enough. Are you growing your own medicinal plants on the homestead? I'm not growing marijuana, if that's what you're asking. My husband actually quit consuming all of it. He was on medical marijuana, and he found some symptoms that were, anxiety invoking instead of releasing. So he stopped, just completely stopped. Its medicinal effects weren't working anymore. I have my own herbs. I have oregano and thyme and basil and chamomile and borage. Comfrey. I have a couple of comfrey plants I bought last year. I'm waiting for them to get established before I really start cutting them back, but they should be ready to cut back this year. Lemon balm, which is good for depression and anxiety situations, and lavender, we all know, is relaxing. Oregano has huge antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. Rosemary, thyme, sage, all of those culinary herbs that we should be using to cook with are loaded with all of those antifungal, antibacterial. You just have to learn your research, do your research, and find all of those things first. Don't rely on one source. Rely on several sources so that you can sort through it. I could do the challenge if it was just me. Kids are fussy and they eat a lot of snacks that I can't make. There's always something in every meal that doesn't come from my pantry. There's a lot of stuff that we're picking up in the grocery store or have had. It's not just the home canned goods. It's also the pantry goods. So we've got crackers and all kinds of things that were left over from Christmas and all kinds of cheese. I've allowed myself a budget to go. I allowed $50, and I don't think $50 was enough. We probably should have had $75 because of inflation. I'm not doing home baking. I'm using mixes just because they're in my pantry and I need to use them up. Wait till you see today's video. I made some gorgeous cheddar biscuits. Oh my goodness. And the mix was rancid. I mentioned it earlier. Oh, it was awful. Today I made some blueberry muffins because there was half a package of mix in the cupboard. I can't eat them. They're not gluten-free. I can't eat them. I've allowed myself the $50 budget per week, and I've gone over twice now. But that's cheese and milk and cream and fruit and vegetables, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. I don't have fresh tomatoes. I tried growing the long keeper tomatoes this year, and they didn't last. I don't know. I probably didn't store them properly. Let me highlight this. You buy your cheese in a 2.3 kilo brick. That's 5 pounds, right? Or 5 or 6 pounds. And that's easy for a month. Well, that would probably be good for us too. But where do you get that? Sorry, I need a lozenge. Where are you buying a brick of cheese that size? We might be able to go to someplace like Reed's Dairy, or possibly I think Workworth has cheese. There is a cheese place around here, but I don't know if they're more small. They sell small ones. Wilton's. That would be a trip that we would both enjoy because we'd love cheese so much. Do any of you watching have food sensitivities or food allergies? I know one for sure. And is that something that people will watch on a homesteading channel? There are so many homesteading channels that have kids that have sensitivities. Like Three Rivers Homestead has one of their sons is anaphylactic to dairy. A cheese place in Quebec is making it, Saint Laurent. I'll have to look that up. Let me write that down so I can find it in the chats later, but Montreal bagels. Marilyn says she's kind of allergic to alcohol. I'm not consuming alcohol or caffeine or carbonated sodas or anything acidy or anything hot. And Jody has a shellfish allergy. Jody is my brother, so that's the one I knew about. Jody and my mother both have shellfish allergies. I don't know if anyone else is anaphylactic, but I think that several of our family avoid stuff like that. Bananas. We all, most of us avoid bananas. I'm very, very fussy about my bananas. So you'll see me using organic bananas in my smoothies every day. They're all lactose intolerant here except you. Did they get it from their mama, or was it from having antibiotics? My daughter is celiac, and like she gets the rash and everything. I've never been diagnosed, but I know that I feel 90% better if I avoid gluten products, and it tends to run in families. I suspect that some of my siblings probably have it too. Now, Jody and I have talked about potatoes and tomatoes and the whole nightshade family, and how it makes us feel, and whether it's a sensitivity or inflammation or just all kinds of things like that come up from tomato, potato, peppers, eggplants, and tobacco. And I don't have a problem with most of them, except potatoes definitely causes inflammation and causes a lot of aching joints and pains and stuff that I'd rather not. Just eat less potatoes and know when you're going to get into it. Look at that. We've got 40 minutes in already. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you hanging out and helping support my channel. I have to learn about memberships. I probably should talk to Remy or Marilyn about one of those, how those things work, because I've never had one and I need to learn. I need to learn the ins and outs of it from both sides, both as a consumer and as a provider. Remy, you started a new job today. How did it all go? Put you on the spot, and you're not there. Marilyn doesn't have a membership. Yes, she doesn't have enough subs. How many subs do you need? There we go. It went great. Oh, sorry. I got to share these with everybody. Remy says, or Marilyn Little Homestead by the Beach says, Remy, I don't have one yet. I don't have enough subs. So I asked, how many subs do you have to have? I don't know if I'm eligible yet or not. I have 500 subs, but I think I need to have 3,000 watch hours instead of 4,000 watch hours to do the super chats and things like that. And my watch hours are very far behind. If live streams work to count towards your hours, then this could help me to get my hours. I am currently sitting at 933 subs, and it keeps going 934, 935, 936, 933. It's just hovering right there right now. I need to have another viral for me video to kick it over the top. And Remy said his day went great. It was meetings and learning and getting to see all those new faces. You need monetization in order to have a membership, I guess. Okay. And yes, live streams count. Remy, did you wear your new shoes? Jody, what's the weather like where you are? I think Dave said he was minus 19 or something this morning. Let's scroll back up and see. Where did Dave join us? Hit minus 19 last night. And Remy said, yes, he did wear his new shoes. Are they a good luck charm? Or are you just, you were working in a medical facility? Are you working in a medical facility again and you didn't want to bring, germs or whatever from another facility? Or are you working in a different kind of facility now? Dave, are you retired? I think I picked up somewhere in some of the previous chats that you were retired or semi-retired or something. And if you are, how are you managing homesteading? Like, how much land do you have? Do you have animals, or are you just hanging out with us because you like to hang out with us? Oh, everybody, please take an opportunity to hit that like button, that thumbs up button, because that helps YouTube just to see us a little bit more. Your comments really help and makes YouTube know this was a popular place to be for the evening. We've got 6 watching right now. Is my signal good? Connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging into your router. Oh, now it says it's good. Guys, is my signal cutting in and out? I'm about 5 feet from the router, so I don't know if I can get much closer to it unless I actually plug it in. All right, guys. It's been 45 minutes. I just need to go that few more minutes. I'd love to make it to an hour, and then every Monday I'll be working on an hour. I'm going to have to come up with some stories to share so that I can chit chat with you all a little better. We had rabbit last night for the first time. I've never eaten rabbit. I think Jody might remember this. When I was young, somebody brought home a rabbit and it was full of buckshot and it had been in the sink to be washed and everything. And one of my sisters reached her hand into the sink to get the rabbit out of the water. And she stuck her finger in the eye socket. And she will not touch it. Those are the only 2 things I remember about it. I think it was made into a rabbit stew. Or rabbit soup or something. Mom would have made a stew to make it spread for everybody. And that's the only time I ever had it. I don't, I was 6. I don't remember what it tasted like. So we had rabbit last night and loved it. It was a little tough, but we don't know if the source that we got it from, how old this rabbit was, or how, it was freezer burned. So how long was it in his freezer before we got it? And when we did get it, he didn't sell us a rabbit. He sold us a bag with a rabbit in it. It just so happens to have a rabbit in it. That's okay. I think that was his way of saying this is not a legal sale, so don't tell anybody. But I won't reveal where he was. I'd like to look into different breeds of rabbits, and I'd like to try eating another one. There is a farm near us called the Rise Farm, and they do sell online. So I'm going to look into that. And they're 7 minutes down the road from us. So except for biosecurity, they may not allow people to just drop by their store. Their store might be entirely online just for, biosecurity, because they've got day jobs. They don't want people coming in and just wandering around when they've got a farm to run. But I know we can meet them at the farmer's market too. Do any of you frequent farmers markets? Do any of you run a farm market stand, or have you ever tried? My plans last summer was with this half to three quarters of this big garden down on the hill. I was thinking that we could start a market garden, but like I said, my gardening season got sidetracked, so that wasn't a thing. And now I know that I'm not 25 anymore. I'm going to have to taper back on what I'm doing a little bit and do what I can. I really, really want to grow carrots. And I really want, because I've not had a successful crop of carrots. Last year, I planted everything 4 times. I had nothing was germinating. In the house, it wasn't germinating. Out in the garden, it wasn't germinating. And they were all different kinds of plants. It wasn't just 2 or 3. It was like 15 different types of plants. I had to plant them 4 times. Calendula likes to self-seed and grows like crazy. I got 3 blooms in October. It took that long for the plants to actually do anything. And our 100 plants of corn that we put in, but like I said, we got 36. And that was planted. I planted some as well. So we got 2 different plots that just didn't take. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was something in our water, if it was because that's the only common denominator in the whole thing was the water. The water down, like we have a whole home UV filter and a filter. And the water that we use for watering the big garden, the upper gardens, or the seed starts in the house all had the same water. So that's the only thing I can come up with that was a common denominator. The plants that were outside could have had trouble because of the smoke in the air, but they were planted before, during, and after that forest fire here that wasn't far from us. And the ones that were planted in the house, they were planted long before the forest fires. So that shouldn't have been an issue. Some were planted in potting soil mix or seed starting mix, and some were planted in manure and compost, and some were planted in a sandy soil, and some were planted in a old feed trough full of potting mix. So it didn't matter what the soil was. Unless my seeds were exposed to something, were they exposed to a magnet, or were they exposed to too hot or too cold or something like that? But I had even brand new seeds weren't starting. Seeds I just purchased, they just didn't start. So I'll have to look into my water and see if I can catch enough rainwater to make a point of it. Water catchment's a thing I have to do again, or we have to develop. I see that nobody is getting me. I just got a ping. What's my ping? Water catchment's a thing I have to investigate. We do have our chicken coop set up so that all the water will run off to the back where we're not walking around. We're not over the egg door, not over the human access door, not over the chicken door or anything like that. It all should run off the back. And it is 16 feet by 8. 16 by 8 should be plenty to catch some water. Just we need to have a rain barrel and set up the troughing for that to go in. Mama Bear might have to, or Buttercup might have to set that up herself and just hang some eaves troughing and get that water catchment set up. There is a bit of a problem where the water catchment might be, though. We've had a tree, just a stump, a firewood stump, set at the corner of our coop, and we had a trail cam on it. That's why it was next to the coop. Well, that night we didn't have an SD card in there, but we came out to collect eggs in the morning, and Dan found raccoon prints on the side of the coop. So we reinforced the areas that might be access points. They were already pretty secure, but we reinforced them even more. And we haven't seen, and we moved the tree stump. But if I get the water catchment, I'm going to want it that close in the same position as that tree stump was. So I have to figure out how to do that without inviting a raccoon access point. I don't want raccoons getting my chickens. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want raccoons getting my chickens. Remy or Marilyn, do either one of you have chickens? Or Dave, do you have chickens? I haven't seen any messages for a little bit, like 10 minutes. I don't know if anybody's still there or if you've lost me. Did I get a message from somebody? Let me see. Am I still live, guys? Am I still live, guys? Apparently I am, to myself anyways. Oh, I'm not getting, why am I not getting messages? Ah, there they are. Okay, I gotcha. Sorry, guys, I got lost. I didn't realize there was a button that said new comments. Little Homestead said by the beach says, just remember, you asked Remy a question and he was not there. It takes around 10 seconds. But okay, so there is a delay. It was minus 25 for a couple days, up to minus 12 today. Minus 12 is pretty warm, Jody. Yes, he was a plumber for 40 years, 2.5 acres and a greenhouse. How do you like the greenhouse, Dave? And my signal, your image is freezing here and there, but sound always good and fluid. Awesome. Okay. So I need to get my image figured out, and I'll talk to my IT husband and see what he thinks about plugging in. Mary Lynn says, we always cook rabbit for at least 3 hours. I parted mine out, so it was basically thighs and wings, essentially, and the saddle. And I fried them and then put them in the oven in liquid for about 30 minutes. Good night, Remy. Thank you for joining. And Dave says, collect rainwater. And Casey Oingo, hi, Rick. Thanks for dropping by. Rick's a friend from Port Hope. No raccoon here. Not much anyways. You know, we haven't seen very many. I expected to see a lot more. We've only seen the tracks from the one, and we may have seen scat twice, but there's enough farms and junk around here. And Jody says he's still here. No, you're right, Mary Lynn. I wasn't seeing the chat anymore. There was a thing that said a little button that said live chat or new chat or something, and I had to click that button. Apparently, I messed it up somehow. It's back. Okay, so hey, Rick, do you have raccoons where you are? Yeah, Marilyn, you're raising rabbits, aren't you? Hi, Suzanne. Suzanne is a family friend, and she's in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder what the weather's like out there. Are they getting rain, or are they getting the colder than usual, or what? My sister Sharon was going to join and watch from the distance too. And Casey Oingo says he definitely has a family of 4 raccoons. Yikes. I'm glad we don't have any, but we do have some fox. I'm sure I've told the story. I'll save it for another time, but we definitely have some fox in the neighborhood. They've migrated in just in the past few months. There was an old farmer. He was like 103, and he was still raising chickens over on his a couple of properties away. And I was told that the fox was living in the gully near his house, and they took out all of his chickens. All it takes is, a couple of hours where they're free ranging, or a fox being able to dig in to the chicken access, the chicken run, and they're done. They find it one day, they'll eat them up one day, and then they'll get in the next day and they'll take out a couple more, and then they'll get in the day after until you solidify that run or that coop. They're going to keep getting into them. Rick, are you saying the raccoons are everywhere, or fox? Rick lives about an hour away from us. We have turkeys. I've got a couple of shorts of turkeys. And Dave says, no livestock, too hard on the native plants you collect. Well, that's awesome to collect native plants. Oh, okay, raccoons. Well, let me catch up. I'm bad at this so far. Yes, meat rabbits. And Rick says definitely a family of 4 raccoons, now that we've clarified that. And they're everywhere. And turkeys. And we have the wild turkeys too. I love seeing them. They were right up close to the house, like 5 feet from the house. And now that we've got the chicken run enclosed, they're not so prevalent. They were actually going into the chicken run and eating out of the feeders, just like the chickens were. And the chickens just kind of stood back and let them. And with avian flu being such a thing last year, 2022, we didn't want to have that encounter anymore. We were getting blue jays in the coop and everything. No livestock is too hard on my native plants. I collect the native plants I collect. I have cousins that farm, and we put in an order for meat. I might consider getting a side of beef or a quarter of a beef or something, but all I have is an apartment size freezer, and I don't know if 2 of us will go through it fast enough to beat the freezer burn. We've purchased some pork from a neighbor, and yeah, I'm working through that. I've got to put a couple of roasts in the oven at once and just work through that. Marilyn says we have a fox. Took a few times to figure out what the weird barking was. Yeah, isn't that off? Like, they don't sound like a dog barking. It's pretty unsettling. And when they're calling, territorial calling, they sound like a woman screaming. The wetlands behind are full of beavers and muskrat, also lots of deer as well. Rick, are you going to get chickens? We don't have wetlands here. My husband would be out in his canoe. Do any of you have goals that you're aiming for 2024? Dan has been setting up some personal goals. He definitely my husband had a bear encounter when he was camping. He was in his hammock and the bear came up, 5-10 feet away from him and was ruffling through his bag. His bag didn't have food in it, but the bear was still ruffling through his bag, and it ended up ripping the bag apart. And it was a heavy duty vinyl bag for rubber bag for canoeing, and it just ripped it, and Dan could hear it ripping. And next thing you know, this bear comes up and swipes at Dan in the hammock and ripped the hammock. It didn't get Dan, but that's when Dan yelled, and it took off a little bit, but it wouldn't leave. I can go to Daniel Mayotte Outdoors, Daniel Mayotte Outdoors, and you can see his video of. And ever since he's been dealing with apprehension, anxiety about going out in the woods again. This is a man who was camping 10 or 15, 20 times a year. And now he hasn't been out in, maybe twice last year. Once with a buddy just south of us at the Frontenac Provincial Park, and once with another buddy at another park. And it was really unsettling for him. He was stressed out the entire time. So this year he's saying he doesn't want that to get the better of him. He wants to get out there and get hiking. He wants to get out there and get canoeing, and he wants to get out there and go camping again, because that was a big passion of his. That's what brought us together, was meeting in a group of like-minded campers for a bushcraft event. Not sure. Mary Lynn says, not sure about my goals. Just continue, I suppose. Yeah, continue on. Do more of the same. For me, I want to continue the gardening. I want to get my gardening, the sideline. I want to get that, it was a health sideline. I want to get that back. And I am thinking about rabbits. I have to research breeds, and I have to research housing and health conditions and things like that. But I've got a few months before I get started with that. We will be hatching our first Canadian brass chicks the best I can. I've never used an incubator yet, and I know the first few times it can be pretty tricky for people, and they don't always have a great success rate with hatch rate. But I'll see what I can do. And Jody tells me, he's speaking for Suzanne, it's -5, 3 inches of snow in Oregon. Oh, all right, guys. We've stuck around for an hour now, and I'm starting to lose my voice, and there is a little four-legger here. Come here, Miss Lily. Somebody is whining and wants to go out the door. Here, Lily, look. There's Lily. Yeah, she's 13 in a couple of weeks. And yeah. So my dog wants to go out. Congrats on your 60 minutes. Yay. And we made it. And hello, beauty. Yeah, she is a beauty. You know what? Lily's superpower is her cuteness. She will lure you in, and then she'll turn. And that's a weird cat. I love you, Jody. Good night, Dave. Good night, friends. I'm losing my voice. I gotta go. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. See you next Monday.